are going to be looking into the career of Tom Hovey,
Okay.
the artist behind all those like amazing food illustrations that you see on the Great British Bake Off.
Right.
Our source material is a recent interview with Hovey in Creative Boom magazine.
Awesome.
And I gotta say, I'm super curious to see how someone with a background like his
Yeah.
in political illustration ends up creating visuals for, probably the most delightful baking show that's out there.
Yeah, it is interesting how, those two worlds collide, but it's not as big of a leap as you might think, actually.
Oh, really?
The thing that connects all of Hovey's work is his incredible knack for capturing not just the image, but the personality of his subject, whether that's like a satirical caricature or a perfectly rendered, Victoria sponge cake.
That is a really good point. I haven't thought about it like that. Okay, so let's rewind all the way back to the beginning.
Okay.
The article talks about how even as like a little kid, Hovey was drawn to art. He was especially into the work of political illustrators like Ralph Steadman and Gerald Scarfe.
Right.
What do you think it was about that style that he connected with?
Well, both Steadman and Scarfe are known for their really bold lines and exaggerated features.
Yeah.
And sometimes a touch of the grotesque, almost like a caricature of reality.
Uh-huh.
So maybe young Hovey was drawn to the way that they use their art to comment on society.
Yeah.
To make a statement, even if it was through humor or satire.
And I feel like you can kind of see echoes of that in his food illustrations too, right?
Absolutely.
There's this like playfulness and almost whimsical quality to the way he draws cakes and pastries. It's not just like a straightforward depiction. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's a sense of character, of storytelling in those illustrations.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's what makes his work really stand out. He's not just, illustrating food. He's capturing its essence, its personality.
Yeah.
Like, if you look at his illustrations for Bake Off, it's like he's giving each bake a little wink and a smile.
Yeah.
A little bit of charm that goes beyond just representing the technical aspects of the recipe.
Okay, so he has this natural talent and this early fascination with art.
Right.
But the interview also talks about his early career struggles, participating in group exhibitions, working temp jobs just to make ends meet.
Yeah.
It sounds like that classic starving artist experience.
It is.
Trying to find your footing in like the creative world.
And it is a reminder that even for someone as talented as Hovey, success doesn't always come easy.
Right.
He was part of a collective called Daydream in the late 2000s London art scene. They would create art in all these unconventional spaces like empty offices and shops.
Really?
But they weren't necessarily, finding financial stability.
That's interesting, though, because even while being surrounded by the commercial world of advertising,
Right.
Hovey says he never wanted to work for a brand. He seemed more interested in the art itself, not the commercial aspects of it.
Right.
That says a lot about him.
It really does. It speaks volumes about his integrity as an artist.
Yeah.
He wasn't chasing trends or trying to fit into a mold.
Yeah.
He was following his own creative compass.
Yeah.
Even if it meant taking the longer, predictable route.
Which I imagine can be really daunting.
Yeah.
Not to have a clear plan, just to trust that things will work out.
Right.
It takes a certain level of confidence.
It does, definitely.
Yeah.
And maybe even a little naivete, which could be a good thing.
Okay.
Sometimes that willingness to jump in without overthinking is what leads to those most exciting opportunities.
And that leads us to the Great British Bake Off.
Yeah.
How does someone who's, drawn to political satire and making art in abandoned shops end up illustrating for a show all about baking?
Well, as with many things in life, it seems like serendipity was involved.
Okay.
A friend of his from his Bristol days had somehow made his way into television and tipped him off about the show.
So it sounds like networking played a role.
Yeah, even if it wasn't a direct path. Yeah, networking, chance encounters, being open to unexpected opportunities.
Yeah.
They all play a part in shaping a career.
Yeah.
Especially in creative fields.
Right.
And for Hovey Landing, that bake-off gig was a real turning point.
Oh, it must have been.
He suddenly had this steady stream of work.
Yeah.
And his illustrations were being seen by millions of people.
Wow.
But the interesting thing is, even with the success of Bake Off, Hovey was already thinking about how he could maintain his own artistic identity outside of the show.
Let's unpack that a little bit.
Okay.
It seems like it would be so easy to get pigeonholed as the Bake Off illustrator.
Right.
How does he deal with that?
Well, it's a tightrope walk for any artist, you know, who gets recognition for a specific project or style. It seems like Hovey's way of handling that is consciously carving out space for personal exploration.
Okay.
even while he's working on Bake Off. He mentions using the off-season to focus on those projects that are closer to his heart.
So he's using that time to kind of like recharge his creative batteries.
Exactly.
And experiment with, different themes and styles that maybe don't really fit into like that bake-off mold.
Exactly. And those personal projects draw inspiration from his surroundings. He talks about his love for the Bristol food scene.
Yeah.
And how it's really fueled his work.
Yeah.
There's a real sense of place and community that you can see in his pieces.
Like that poster that he did for the band Idols.
Yeah.
The one that deals with toxic masculinity.
Right.
That's pretty far from illustrating cakes.
Yeah, for sure.
It seems like he's not afraid to use his art to, tackle more complex social issues.
That's right. And it just shows how versatile food illustration can be. It's not just about making things look delicious.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a powerful tool for storytelling and social commentary.
It can be.
Think about that series that he did for Bloomberg Businessweek. The illustrations of like boozy ice cream.
Right.
On the surface, it's fun and whimsical.
Yeah.
But there's also a deeper meaning there.
Okay.
It speaks to the bigger trends in food culture. The blurring of the lines between indulgence and sophistication.
That's interesting that you mentioned that.
Yeah.
Because in the interview, Hovey talks about wanting to like dig deeper into food culture and sustainability in his future work. Do you think that's a direction that more food illustrators are taking? Like moving beyond just making food look pretty?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
As consumers become more aware of the ethical and environmental impact of their food choices, it makes sense that artists would reflect that in their work.
Yeah.
Hovey's shown that he's willing to engage with these issues.
Yeah.
So it'll be really interesting to see how he tackles those themes in his future projects.
He also mentions wanting to experiment with different mediums.
Right.
Up to this point, he's primarily known for his pen and ink style. But he hints at exploring digital illustration or even animation.
It makes sense considering how the creative landscape is changing.
Yeah.
Digital tools offer these new possibilities for expression.
Yeah.
And animation could open up entirely new ways of storytelling within food illustration.
There's this sense of restlessness in the interview.
Yeah.
This desire to constantly push the limits of what food illustration can be.
Yeah.
He even talks about maybe using Patreon as a platform to connect with his audience.
Right.
And maybe even to fund those more experimental projects.
That's smart. Both creatively and from a business perspective. Patreon allows artists to really build that direct connection with their fans.
Yeah.
Offer exclusive content, behind-the-scenes peeks, and even let fans have a say in what projects get made.
So it seems like he's looking for a more sustainable way to pursue his art.
Yeah.
To have more control over his work and how it reaches people.
Exactly. And it reflects a bigger trend we're seeing in the art world. Where artists are seeking alternatives to the traditional gallery system.
Right.
Or relying solely on commissions. Platforms like Patreon offer a way to build a more independent, community-driven creative career.
And for Hovey, who mentioned feeling kind of disconnected from the art community after he moved to suburbia, Patreon could be a way to kind of bridge that gap and foster that sense of connection.
Right.
It's wild how the internet can both isolate and connect us.
It really is.
But for someone like Hovey, who clearly thrives on collaboration and feedback, finding ways to build that community is essential. This whole interview has been a real eye-opener.
Yeah.
It's not just about the technical skill of illustration.
Right.
It's also about being savvy in business.
Yeah.
Constantly evolving and having a deep connection to what you're drawing.
It's a reminder that a successful creative career isn't just about talent.
Right.
It's about cultivating this approach that includes your artistic vision, an entrepreneurial spirit, and a genuine passion for your craft.
So what does all this tell us about Tom Hovey as an artist?
Yeah.
What stands out to you?
For me, it's his drive.
Yeah.
He could just ride the wave of Bake Off's success.
Right.
But he's constantly pushing himself.
Yeah.
Exploring new ideas and techniques and even new ways of connecting with his audience.
That's a great observation.
Yeah.
It'd be so easy to get complacent, especially when you've achieved that level of success.
Yeah.
But he seems to be driven by this genuine curiosity.
Yeah.
And a real desire to keep evolving as an artist.
Definitely.
And that's so inspiring for anyone out there, who's trying to make their own way in the creative world.
Yeah.
It's a reminder that, a fulfilling career isn't always about following a straight path. It's about embracing those unexpected detours.
Right.
Those times when you might feel lost or uncertain and trusting that they'll lead you somewhere interesting.
Yeah, Hovey didn't exactly set out to be the bake-off illustrator. He was drawn to political satire.
Yeah.
He played around with different mediums. He hustled to make ends meet.
Yeah.
And then, bam, a chance meeting led him to this completely unexpected opportunity.
And he didn't just take the opportunity.
Yeah.
He used it as a springboard to further explore his own artistic voice.
Right.
To branch out into projects that really meant something to him.
Yeah.
It's like he found this balance between the success of Bake Off and his own personal creative goals.
And that's such a key takeaway for anyone pursuing a creative career.
Yeah.
It's not always about choosing between your passion and practicality.
Yeah.
It's about finding ways to blend them both together.
Right.
To make a path for yourself
that
allows you to both, pay the bills and nurture your artistic side.
That's so important. It's easy to get caught up in this romantic idea of the starving artist.
Right.
But the truth is you need to be able to support yourself if you want to really thrive creatively.
Yeah.
Hovey seems to have figured out a good way to do that.
Yeah. He's created a brand for himself that's both recognizable and adaptable. He's known for Bake Off, of course.
Yeah.
But he's also made a name for himself as a versatile illustrator who can handle all kinds of subjects and styles.
And he's not afraid to experiment, though, to push the boundaries of what food illustration can be. I'm excited to see what he does with those plans to explore digital illustration and animation.
Yeah, me too.
It feels like there's so much potential there, just waiting to be unlocked.
Absolutely. He's already shown us that food illustration can be more than just pretty pictures.
Yeah.
It can be this powerful way to tell stories, make social commentary, and even explore complicated topics like sustainability and food culture.
This deep dive has been amazing.
It has.
It's given me such a new appreciation for Tom Hovey's work.
Yeah.
And what it takes to build a successful career as an illustrator.
It's a good reminder that talent is obviously important.
Right.
But it's just one piece of the puzzle.
Yeah.
Hard work, perseverance, being open to the unexpected, and a desire to learn and grow. Those are the things that truly set an artist apart.
And for anyone listening who's feeling inspired by Hovey's journey, I think the big takeaway is this. Don't be afraid to go after what you love, even if the path seems a little uncertain.
Right.
Embrace those detours, experiment, connect with other creative people, and never stop learning.
Great advice.
You never know where it might take you.
You really don't.
Well, if you're interested in seeing more of Tom Hovey's work, from those bake-off illustrations to his personal projects, make sure to check out his website.
Yes, definitely. We'll put a link in the show notes.
It's a real visual feast.
It is.
That'll spark some creative inspiration.
For sure.
And on that note, we'll wrap up this deep dive.
Okay.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep creating, and keep those creative sparks flying.